español se está convirtiendo en un lenguaje común escuchar en la vida cotidiana. Translation: Hello. Spanish is becoming quickly a common language that we hear in everyday life. In America, we are gifted with the luxury of having a singular, prominent language. However, that fact is a fallacy. Spanish is the fastest growing language in the United States. Imagine how terrifying it would be to not have the ability to communicate with, say, your boss, your friends, even your partner. Es algo muy aterrador cuando piensa en ello. Let's talk about the need of the situation. Knowing only one language hinders your ability to communicate effectively with others. As Americans, we are isolated into our culture alone. Yes, we have a vast culture, and we are often referred to as the Great American Melting Pot, yet we hardly experience a fraction of what the world has to offer culturally. Brought on by a language barrier. And what this means is, what a language barrier is that it hinders the way you have the ability to communicate with others. Say you're talking to someone and they only speak Spanish, you're not going to have a very effective conversation if you too don't speak Spanish. If your line of work involves regular contact with speakers of a foreign language, then knowing a second language can help you communicate with them, make sales, negotiate, and secure contracts. There are well-documented cognitive benefits for learning a second language. Second language skills have been related to improved reading skills, as well as having a better ACT and SAT score. Satisfaction. Fortunately, there are several educational opportunities for learning a second language. For example, in primary school, many elementary schools are now offering, or rather beginning to introduce languages early. I guarantee that in elementary school at one point you heard uno, dos, tres, or un, deux, trois, which is basically 1, 2, 3. How many of you all took a foreign language course in high school? High schools are beginning to offer such courses as Spanish, French, German, Italian, and they're even beginning to delve into more obscure languages such as Latin, Japanese, and Mandarin. And then in our world today, in our post-secondary educational institutions, or in other words, colleges, it's becoming more and more popular for people to major in the field of a foreign language, whether it be to teach or becoming a translator for factions of the government. Envisioning. Imagine a world where language barriers don't exist, where everyone can communicate with each other openly. It's amazing if you think about it. The negative side effects of not knowing a second language, and a lot of this is reiteration, it prevents you from communicating effectively with others. Even more scary, if you think about it and you're in a foreign country and you don't know the first things about their language, how are you to communicate with emergency officials if they don't speak your language? Also, another downside is that job opportunities are becoming limited if you don't have some experience in a second language. The positives of learning a second language. Again, it helps with cognitive skills such as reading. The likelihood of a job is increased because you have some experience with a second language. Knowing a second language brings people together in ways that otherwise wouldn't be possible. In closing, I wish to urge everyone to consider learning a second language. Spanish took me to Guatemala and immersed me in a culture that was amazing. And to this day, I have friends because of the fact that I can speak Spanish. Thank you all so very much, or perhaps it's appropriate to say, gracias a todos por la mucho.